Alright, we're back for part two of the video. So again, like I said last time, I'm just gonna finish this and we're gonna go to the next part. So when you combine shapes like that, it's actually you can do whatever you want. That looks like kind of like a star of some sort, even though it was a diamond originally. So it's all about just trial and error, mixing and matching, whatever you want to do. So actually, we're going to talk about another method you can do for this project, which is using the tracing paper to make a stencil or just another image. So imagine this is tracing paper, and imagine this bag is like the coloring book image or whatever image you want to trace. So what you would do is you would put the tracing paper over the image, trace out the lines that you see, trace it out. That's not accurate, but it's just a good representation. Then what you would do with that tracing paper is you would flip it face down so you can see it, and then you would imprint the lines that you drew, whatever outlines you made, onto your work of art. Then you would have a nice image on your hands, and then that could really enhance your abstract art.
So what's another name for tracing paper?
Rice paper is another name for tracing paper.
And the reason that we use transparent rice paper or tracing paper is because it is transparent, and that allows you to see once you flip over the paper after copying the image off of the paper or whatever image that you wanted. When you flip that over, you can easily copy down whatever it is that you stenciled out.
Exactly. So next we're going to include some color into this to make it pop. So what you're going to do, you can just color right in, or if you want to be more exact and more, finesse, you can put the stencil over it again. Maybe just, all right. So put the stencil over it, and then you can just color it in. I'm kind of just used to doing it without it, so I'll probably just do that. So you can just color it in. Well, this shape is just kind of hard to do, so I won't do it. But line it up, color some more. And really, you can leave it white if you want a certain effect. You can just leave it blank. So, this is like an unlimited type of picture you can do. That's kind of what we went over during class. It's just like whatever you set your mind to, it's what you can do. However you feel it, you can express it. All right, which one is brighter?
Alright, and so another thing that you can do easily with pastels is you can see here, Robert has got quite a few colors going on his page right now. So something that you can do is blend out where you can see those colors beginning to come together so that they become seamless. And that's something that pastels are very good for, is blending.
Exactly.
So if you just lightly take your finger or maybe even the eraser, they'll blend together quite well.
So you can see I have kind of a rough idea. But now I'm going to do some blending and just kind of smudge it in to even it out. It gives a nice kind of a blur effect too, if that's what you want to go for. So right there you can see it's kind of blended in. It's more seamless and not as abrupt of a color change. So that can really give you a nice artistic effect. Just gonna keep blending. Blend, blend, blend.
Another tip for the pastels is that you can tell how light of a touch Robert has been using, not just with his blending, but with the pastels in general. If you begin to mash or say over press your pastels when you're spreading the color onto the page, you will grind each pastel into dust. they are just pressed together pigment. So use a light touch no matter what it is that you're doing, or you'll end up with much more dust than you might have intended.
That's a good point. You can also play with value too, as far as the pressure you put on the pastel. So I can demonstrate that in a few. So if you want to go for a darker, more, solid look, you can really press it down. All right.
And depending upon the type of pastels, the brand that you might have bought, they could be more rigid or they could be more soft depending upon their process of pressing. Sometimes they add oils to the pastels, and those unfortunately are not the ones that we're using for the class. Oil pastels are almost like crayons. So do be careful and read the packaging before you buy.
Alright, so real quick, I'm just going to demonstrate a value, I guess, scale really. So I'm going to go from light to dark. And I'm just going to do this based on the amount of pressure I use on the actual pastel. So let me use a more vivid color for this. Let's use this kind of bright pink. Yeah. So right here, I'm just going to do it pretty light, almost barely, just floating on top of it. Then a little bit harder. Really not that much harder, but enough to where you can notice a difference. It doesn't have to be all the way lines, because I'm just going to blend that in anyway. All the way filled in within the lines. So this one's going to be a bit harder. You can already see that's pretty dense in color. And then for this last, I'm going to try and do it as hard as I can without breaking this thing.
And so a great way to actually build up color this way without confusing or making any of your blocks in the value scale look the same shade is to start from the lightest and make them all the same shade. And when you get to the bottom, make that one the darkest and then work your way back up so that you have that scale working up to the lightest to the hardest.
That sounds like an amazing technique, and I probably should have done it here. But you always learn, even if you're a teacher.
Well, you're pretty good at this, as you can see. So you just have a different way of doing it. There's just more ways to skin a cat than one. So you got to put all the ideas you can think of out there.
So there you go,
Right.
light to dark, or less dense to more dense, however you want to put it. And really, I mean, that's